Well, good morning, everybody. And in case you hadn't heard from the previous video, I'm going on an elk hunt with my brother. And even in this type of situation, I'm going to set my camp up primitive, mountain man style, if you will. But I typically set my diamond fly up different than most people do. And the way I set it up, I have a whole lot more room, so I thought maybe I would just share with everybody how I set my diamond fly up. And I will tell you, over the years, other friends that camp in a diamond fly look at how I've set mine up, and they've actually sketched it and have pretty much set theirs up the same way because of the much more room you have. And for those that are not familiar with the diamond fly, you can go back on YouTube. I believe the channel I Love Muzzleloader. Ethan sets up his diamond fly pretty much as a plow point. And the reason why I quit doing that years and years ago, because, you know, when I go to a rendezvous, I like typically going to the larger ones that are a week long. And when you're at a rendezvous for a week, you're going to more likely get some rain and driving winds, and setting it up as a plow point, typically you get wet inside because of the driving wind and the rain. So I've learned to set mine up differently. And the other thing that I want to do is, I haven't set this up for probably 3-4 years now. And so I just kind of want to go and change my ropes out from, you know, the 1/4 inch sisal rope to braided rope. So in all of this, I need to change some of this stuff out. So I hope you'll find the video informative, and I hope it gives you some food for thought, that there's another way of setting these up which really gives you a lot more room. So let me get repositioned here, and we'll go to work. So as you can see, I have the canvas stretched out, and I have only 2 corners staked down. And there's a very specific reason why when you set these up you only want to stake down 2 corners, because I'm going to insert a center pole, and that's the pole right there that has the tennis ball on the top. Now when you get these diamond flies, you'll see that there's actually a center to them. I don't think the camera's going to pick it up, but you can kind of see the patch sewn in right there to reinforce the center, but there's also a tie strap on the inside. Now some guys can actually set these up with the tie strap on the outside, and you can tie a rope to a tree or to some cross poles or something like that. But I'm going to get the center pole in, and I'll kind of show you, you know, how I kind of do this. And there's a reason why you do not want to stake down 3 corners. You only want to do 2, because when you lift it up to put the center pole in, the edge that's not staked down is going to draw in to the center. And you can kind of see how I've got this positioned right now. So let me get the camera back on the tripod and hopefully give you guys a wide angle of everything. The main reason I like having the tie on the inside is because when I set up my center pole, I can actually tie that strap and keep this center pole exactly where I need it. I'll show you. Once I get the pole where I need it, then I can flip the canvas over, and then I can walk it to the third corner, which is right here, and then stake it down. And I did pull the back one a little loose. Now with the three corners in place, now I can pull the front, and then I have a shorter pole. It's about the same size as the center pole. Then I put that in the front, and then I'll anchor that down, and you'll kind of see what I've got going here. I'm going to get this anchored down, and I'll be right back at you. So I'm going to give you guys an inside view right now. Here's my outside pole, which is hickory. In fact, all my poles right now are hickory other than that center pole. Okay, but you guys can see that the sides are drooping down quite a bit. But let me get inside and kind of give you an idea how much room I have at this point. Alrighty, I'm at the front pole here looking inside. You can kind of see how I tied off my center support, and I know a lot of you probably can't really see that there's not much depth or room in this diamond fly at this point. And this particular diamond fly is 12.6 by 12.6. When I ordered it from Red Hawk Trading Company, instead of cutting that extra 6 inches off and throwing the material away, he asked me if I would mind having a 12.6 by 12.6, and I said, hell no, that just gives me a little extra room. But I want to show you guys what I do at this point. You can see how this canvas droops down or drapes down right here, and also on this side. So I'm going to go put the camera on the tripod, and I'm going to show you what I do to give myself more room. So my side poles are the same height as my front pole. And I take one pole and position it there. And the second pole will do the same thing. I think at this point you can see I have tremendous amount of room, but it doesn't stop there. I actually have curtains that I drape from the front pole to the second outside pole and around the back. So I basically close this entire thing right off. So let me get that accomplished, and then I'll show you the end result. Now that's where I'm at thus far, and you can see it's a little breezy out here. Let me go around to the other side, and I have that one pole staked down, and it's taut. And there's my other pole. Now typically I put these poles to the inside, and there's a reason why I do that. Since I've redone a couple of my poles, I need to drill some holes in the pole so that I can put hooks through the pole so I can hang stuff on. And as you can see, I'm hoping, I have a buttonhole right here, and then I will tie these off to the inside so that if it goes to raining, typically the water, the rain stays towards the outside. So what I do in conclusion, I put another stake in the ground, anchor a little bit of the lodge down, and then I tie the rope off to that stake. So let me get that accomplished so you guys can have a visual of what that looks like. Okay, this is pretty much how I set this up. Now, for the time being, I'm only setting it up so that I can air out the smell of the mothballs. But you guys can kind of see what I do with these curtains here. Now, obviously, because the canvas is quite a bit off the ground, I will move those stakes in so that the canvas is only maybe just a couple of inches off the ground, like it is on this side right here. Okay, now stepping into it, I'm going to try to get down and give you guys an overall view as to how much room, and hopefully the camera can pick up the depth of how much room I actually have in here now. Okay, and as I mentioned before, I want these bigger poles in here for this reason. So I will drill a hole through this pole, and then I'll insert this hanger. I'll put one here and probably one on that smaller pole. Haven't quite decided yet because that's a pretty thin pole, but I do have another pole that's made out of pine this same diameter. So I will probably just swap those two poles out because obviously I need room to hang stuff. And I do have the curtains. I need to move or swap these from side to side because you can see that my buttonholes don't line up with my ties. But I think you guys can appreciate just how much room setting your diamond fly up like this can give a guy. Now I will admit I have to duck down every time I come in, but you know, that's the price I'm willing to pay to have all this room. I'm tucked in as far back as my body will allow me, looking towards the front. Hopefully you guys can kind of get just much of a view as to how much room I have setting it up like this. And yes, sometimes in the rain the water will puddle on that flat roof, but once again, it's not that big a deal for me. And also you guys can see how I drive one stake and then tie off the edge of the curtain of the sidewall. Now some of you may be asking, how come I don't anchor it straight to the ground? Well, two reasons. I mostly do rendezvous in the summer months, and I want the airflow to flow through the lodge. Now, I will be doing a rendezvous sometime in middle November called Frozen Foot, and I still plan on setting it up this way. But another reason why I'm setting this up like this now, and before I go on the elk hunt, I actually plan on bringing my wood stove that I made out of the 5-gallon propane tank, or the 20-pound propane tank, and I kind of want to see how that's going to fit in here in conjunction with everything being set up the way I normally do. And if you guys can kind of see, I don't know the camera can pick it up well enough, and as I mentioned earlier about the puddling of water, you can also set these up with one pole just a little bit taller than the pole is on the opposite side, and a lot of that water will shed. So just in case anybody's wondering, these poles are 5 foot tall. So the two on the sides and the one on the front, and my center pole is just a little bit taller than those other 3 poles, maybe 4 or 5 inches. It's not a whole lot. So I'm going to go to drilling the holes, and I'll show you what it looks like once I get the anchors or the hooks through the poles in place. And as you guys can also see, I can also roll the sides up and use the strapping that comes with the diamond fly to keep the curtain or the sidewalls in place, just in case I want to get a little bit of extra airflow. I have that as an option. And there's my wood stove, and there's the chimney, and it's not set up exactly for use right now because I need to still put that anchor into the ground a little further, but I also made this to have a lantern hook so that I can also hang a lantern on the outside. Let me get repositioned inside and we'll take a look from the inside. So obviously it's a little too hot right now to have a fire, but I'm hoping by the time I get to Frozen Foot I'll have all of these little things worked out. In particular, since I'm going on this elk hunt with my brother, I'll have an opportunity to set everything up like this and see how it all works. And there's the hook I put through the hickory pole, and you know, it's nothing like a good piece of hickory. And then I went ahead and swapped out for the bigger pole on this side so that I can have the hook going through that pole also. So guys, I think you can pretty much appreciate just how much more room is in a diamond fly if you choose to set it up like this. And not only that, there's a lot more privacy also. And that's one thing that when it comes to a rendezvous, especially at night or something like that, some people just prefer to have a little bit more privacy than an open front diamond fly. So anyhow, I hope this video was informative for you. I hope you can learn something for it, or if nothing else, perhaps give you some different ideas on how to set a diamond fly up differently, and more importantly, with somewhat of a flat roof. Like I said earlier, I have to duck to get in here, but that's the price I have to pay for extra room. So I'm going to get busy now and start changing out all of these sisal ropes to that 3-cord braided rope, and I'm going to be spending some time doing that. So I hope everybody will give this a like, a thumbs up, and please feel free to share this with your bestest of buds. Bye.